Good morning and welcome to the Commute for this Tuesday, February the 27th of 2018. Who would have thought 2018? I hate to be like all the other old people out there, but the year really does go very fast when you're not paying attention. We're going to start off today by talking about the fact that Kevin Smith had a heart attack overnight Australian time. His time, I don't know what it was. I think he tweeted that it was between shows that he was doing, so obviously it was nighttime for him. It's you can't be someone who's into podcasting like I am without knowing Kevin Smith and his podcasting, whether you like him or his work or anything. The way he created or has created Smodcast, the network more so than just the show, with all the different podcasts and stuff, and he had the Smodcastle, and then he does doing the live shows. He will be regarded as one of, when he does eventually pass, because he didn't pass, thank God, or thank the spaghetti monster. When he does eventually pass, he will be regarded as one of the innovators of podcasts in the early days. So you just gotta say thank you to whoever is out there that thinks these things through and decided that Kevin was going to stick around for a bit longer. Although I remember in one episode he actually joked about having a heart attack on stage and dying doing what he loved, talking on stage. So he almost got his wish, because he said in one of the tweets that if he hadn't have gone to the doctor that saved him, said that if you hadn't have cancelled the second show and come into the hospital, you probably would have died during the second show or after the second. So it's Kevin Smith is still with us, so let's all be a little bit grateful for that if you're into his stuff. Obviously, if you're not into his stuff, then you wouldn't give a shit. But I just thought I'd point that out at the start of the day. Good morning, it's Tuesday. We're going to have a pretty mellow day today, as you can tell by this track. This is David Hilowitz with Ephemera. Ephemera. Just ease on in. Still morning. We're just going to get by and hopefully make it into work without any problems. It hasn't happened for a while, but I got caught out by the end of that song. I was looking at Twitter. I apologise to anyone who wanted me to come in earlier. Anyway, let's start off with the idiot that is Ivanka Trump. She did an interview recently, and the interviewer asked her about the allegations of sexual abuse and misconduct against her father. And I don't have what the exact quote is, so I'm going to read from the BBC website. Ivanka Trump says she finds it, quote, pretty inappropriate, quote, for a reporter to have asked her if she believes the women who accuse her father of sexual misconduct. I don't think that's a question you would ask many other daughters, quote, she replied when interviewed by NBC News. No, but your father is the president. Seriously, how... You can... You can just see her like Neo in the Matrix trying to dodge the bullets, can't you? She's just like, oh, what can I say that gets me out of answering this question? Because it's not inappropriate to ask the advisor, because on her Twitter account, she puts herself as advisor to the president. It is not inappropriate to ask a family member who is in the public eye, who has somehow managed to become a member of the White House team, if she believes that her father had sexual misconduct allegation, or if the accusations of sexual misconduct are legitimate. I believe my father. I know my father, she said. So I think I have that right as a daughter to believe my father. What? That right? I've got a big issue with rights, and this forum is not the place for that discussion, but I think I have that right as a daughter to believe my father. What? That doesn't make any sense. There's no right to believe or not. There's only whether you take all the information and the facts as they stand, or the information that you have at the time, and then if you believe. And I saw a tweet that said, a woman said that her father had done 30 years, I think it was, for rape or something. I can't remember exactly what the allegation was, but her father had gone to prison for a sexual related crime. And she pointed out there's a difference between loving your father because they are your father and knowing that they need to pay for the hurt that they caused or the crime that they committed. And Ivanka just seems to be completely about the Trump image just powering through everything. And I'm sure that that's not what she thinks. You know that this is the media version and stuff, because she glasses over. Even in these still pictures on the thing, she's just glassed over. It's all so fake. It's very weird. Here's the actual, the full actual quote from a reporter called Peter Alexander, which is interesting, given the pajama company. Do you believe your father's sexual misconduct accuses? Is the question. Ivanka, quote, I think it's a pretty inappropriate question to ask a daughter if she believes the accusers of her father when he's affirmatively stated there's no truth to it. Yes, but your father is a known liar. Like, he lies in the public eye where he can be fact-checked. You know what I mean? I don't know. I should get off my high horse, because I don't know how I'd react in the same situation if my father or mother or somebody close to me was accused of such things. Would I try to turn a blind eye? Would I try to just ignore it? I don't know. But I think she needs to pay a bit more attention to certain truths and certain obvious likelihood. Let's just put it that way. You've just got to assume that he's a bit dodgy behind closed doors, don't you? We're going to keeping it mellow here on something XY. That was my attempt at a radio call sign. I should come up with one. This is Luke Electronique. Just like yesterday's show, I feel like that's another good one for just staring out the window. If you're driving, don't stare out the window. But if you're on the train, just keep staring. Not at people. Come on, people. Don't stare at people. Anyway, let's do a quiz. We're only going to do one of the questions from the quiz because I think this one quiz, it was an ad for Deakin University that said, how much of a narcissist are you? And as someone who has identified with the qualities of a narcissist, the lack of compassion, the self-absorption, all that kind of stuff. In fact, I'll tell a story. Watching a YouTube documentary on narcissism, and they spoke about a young boy who murdered his mother, who it turned out was clinically a narcissist and suffered from narcissism. That's a very long story as to why he killed his mother, but she was just as crazy as him. But they interviewed this guy who was a self-aware narcissist, who was aware that he had narcissistic personality disorder. And at one point when they were filming him doing an interview, they had the camera running whilst they were setting things up. And he said to them, see, this is the problem. I think I can do that better than you. Or I know I can do that better than you. Or something was what he said. And at that moment, I said, oh my God, I'm a narcissist because that's how I feel. I have to pull my own head in so often because I think my computer's frozen. I don't know whether I should keep talking or not. So I'm going to anyway. So I'll see somebody doing something and I will do exactly what this guy did, which is to think in my head, I could do that and I could do it better than them. And I've had a couple of times where in my head, that's what I thought, that's what I felt. And then I've done it and it wasn't better than the first person. And that's not a fun realization when your brain tells you, hey, you could do that. That's up your alley. And then you do it and you do it badly and it's no good. That can be a bit of a shock. So you have to put your head in. So you do these quizzes again. How narcissistic are you? And the second question I found funny. I wasn't going to go through the whole quiz on the show, so here's just the one question. Your friend is looking sad and tells you her grandma recently passed away. You, A, give her a big hug and tell her you're there anytime she needs a chat. B, sympathise for a while, then ask if she wants to go out clubbing tonight as you've got no one else to go with. C, listen for 20 seconds, then interrupt to talk about when your cat Tiger died. Now that was tough going. So you can see, you can see which one of those is obviously the narcissist, I think. Which then reminds me that the other day I was overanalyzing life as I normally do, and I thought to myself, whenever somebody talks to me, I do manage to turn it around and talk about myself. And I justified that to a certain degree by saying, well, I know myself and I know my situation, so I'll tell them something from my life or an experience that I had, and then they can do the same with an experience from their life. And I thought, that's all well and good, Gavin, but no one else does that. No one else, when you talk to them, says that to you. Just starts off with their experience or their thing. So I said to myself, from now on, you're not allowed to talk about yourself. You've got to ask them. If somebody says, for instance, with this thing of their grandmother recently passed, instead of saying, oh my God, I know exactly how you feel, my cat died once, that kind of thing. I actually said to myself, you've got to ask them a further question. Talk about them for once. And so that didn't go very well. I did not do very well at that mental game or mental work that I was trying to do, where I think I literally pulled myself up twice from talking about myself and then slipped straight back into, oh yeah, hey, that happened to me. Yeah, I know that. That's me too. So, very unsurprisingly, I think if I did this test, now obviously I would click A. There's no doubt about that. Okay, question number 3. You get a uni assignment back and it's covered with red scribble. It's not all bad. There are some encouraging comments. You feel pretty disappointed you worked hard on this, but you take the feedback on board and vow to get a better mark next time. B, spend the rest of the day dissing your lecturer. Sure, she's had 20 years of experience in the field, but it doesn't mean she actually knows anything. Those who can do, those who can't teach, you mutter loudly to anyone in earshot. Or C, wonder if your lecturer is up to scratch, but concede a few of her comments might be on the mark. So the obvious one is the middle one there, that the lecturer is the issue. I think personally, I would probably, if I'm being honest, I'd probably go with C. I would probably wonder if they were up to scratch and then have to concede. Question number 4, you've played the field a bit lately and don't mind bragging about it. But when your most recent date ghosts you, you tell all your friends you couldn't care less. However, you secretly feel deeply upset and spiral into self-doubt, brackets, while acting more confident than ever. B, are puzzled. Usually everyone fancies you, but you suppose you can't win them all. C, are a bit upset and tell your mates as much. They all reassure you that you're awesome and can do better. Now, if I remember what the way the kids talk these days, ghosting is when you don't message someone back, I think, when you just don't talk to them. Wouldn't it be nice if we lived in a world where if instead of ghosting someone, you literally could just say, hey, I'm not interested. But I understand why people don't do that, because then the other person comes back with some ridiculous, oh, well, I wasn't interested in you anyway, that kind of shit. So, but anyway, that's a little bit of narcissism. I think I'm going to go the rest of that quiz later, because I think I need to work on my narcissism a little bit. He says as he records a podcast of himself talking for 30 minutes. I've only got 3 tracks today and I'm about to play the 3rd, which means I'm going to try and scramble for a 4th. Here we go. caught out again reading up about why Emma Chambers, star of Vicar of Dibley, passed away at the age of 53. Talking about Kevin Smith with heart attacks and stuff, it turns out that Emma apparently died of a heart attack as well. To quote the news.com.au, the beloved star endured asthma attacks, steroid injections, and numerous trips to the hospital throughout her life, revealing she couldn't touch animals without suffering extreme allergic reactions. That's really unfortunate. You wouldn't wish that on anyone. As someone who absolutely loves his two puppies and loves animals in general, it would be terrible to not be allowed near animals and to play with animals and to have extreme allergic reactions like that. And if anyone knows anything about asthma attacks and the need for steroid injections, you know how that's just not a fun life. And yet she was fantastic. If you haven't seen The Vicar of Dibley, you definitely need to go onto YouTube. Especially the jokes at the end of the show. They used to, after the credits, they'd always do a joke. And you definitely need to check some of those out. They were fantastic. The two-piece of Emma Chambers and Dawn French? Yeah. Doing those two-parters or two-handers or whatever they call them in the biz are absolutely fantastic. Plus, there's that issue of heart attacks. What the hell's happening with people? It's only two people, but anyway. A little bit of a serious one just very quickly before I head into a little bit of admin-y type stuff that I would like to do. Apparently in Iceland, they've only just introduced a bill to outlaw circumcision of men, of boys. I know when you say circumcision, you usually do think foreskin of the penis. You don't think female circumcision. But I just wanted to be specific there because obviously the two are very different. Female circumcision being removing the clitoris, which is just disgusting, and removing of the foreskin is a little bit different. Personally, as someone who still has his turtleneck, I believe circumcision is barbaric. There is absolutely no medical reason for it. And I would just like to say I am 100% behind the people who are pushing for the bill to ban circumcision. The interesting thing is the people who are for circumcision, religious groups. Yay! I don't know if you've listened to this, if I've mentioned it on this before. I'm pretty anti-religion. Don't like the stuff. Think it's pretty bad. I understand why it exists, but it should go away. And it is pretty disgusting, in my opinion, that people are mutilating young boys under the pretense that some book told them to do it that was written thousands of years ago. The original versions anyway, let's not get into that. So that's just a little thing on there. So if you want to, around the water cooler today, if you want to bring that up, see what people think, judge whether your co-workers or even your friends and family, how they feel about male circumcision. Because let's just face it, deforming a young child before they even have any kind of opinions on the world and the consent to do it is pretty gross. And you wouldn't chop off something else for some reason. I don't know what else you could do. It's the same as piercing kids' ears when they're too young. I'm not a fan of that either. But anyway, I'm going to delve into the music that I should pay for, not the free music archive music, like Audio Binger with Pre-Game Warm-Up, which was the one that we just listened to. This is Camille, a beautifully voiced French singer who has done some English work as well, but this is in French. This is Le Sac de Fil.
s'est posé trop de questions. To be or not to be. Est-ce que Dieu existe? Mais pour comprendre la marche du monde, il faudrait que les hommes m'expliquent qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans le sac des filles. Napoléon à Sainte-Hélène voyait en rêve le sac de Joséphine. Ces hommes du haut de son empire se creusaient encore la cervelle. Mais qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans le sac des filles? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans le sac des filles? Qu'est-ce qu'il y a dans la tête des hommes? Élémentaire, mon cher Watson.
That's Camille with Le Sac de Feel. Please go and buy that song or something of hers, because that way I can at least say that she made some money out of me playing her song. Because I'm not making any money out of it, so she may as well. She's fantastic. She's got a bunch of albums out that you should go check out. So, I wanted to, just at the end of the show, say I want this show to be more about the people who listen to it, if anyone does listen to it, because the stats tell me that no one does, but that's all right. So if you're listening to this, please send me an email, bobbyfreakout@gmail.com. Record something on your phone and send that to me. I don't know, send me a news article, a topic that you want to talk about, something. I want this to be a very listener-friendly, very interactive experience getting you to and from work. And hopefully we can all have a better time together because of it. Or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, this has been The Commute for Tuesday, the February 27th of 2018. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for listening and have a good day.
Clack.